Well, as you can see, it's going to be real fanned out tail. I mean, I've even seen where they were not only straight across, you know, the last feather on both sides. I've seen them not only straight across, I've seen them like where they were down like this a little bit. I mean, they can really put a good fan. So I want to make sure I put as good a fan as I can. You get your next one, and you want it to kind of go underneath the one before it. Not much though, just the last little edge. Yeah, you just want the corner to go up under the preceding feather in front of it, and then yeah, that's how you do it. There we are. There. You don't want no gaps in it if you can keep from it. I can take the heck out of it too. I mean, we got a few options there. Right in here, this section right here, it's I like the separation, and sometimes tape can, not only does it hold, but it helps you have control so you can do other things. Like maybe going to get a piece of cardboard or something. Well, in the meantime, I've got it taped really good. So that'll kind of help keep it from, feathers moving out of place and everything. So you got a few little things you can do here. Kind of keep things, I guess aligned is the right word. Symmetry. Want those feathers a certain way. I like the way they're spread here for the most part. Okay, I probably could have, yeah, about right there. That's perfect. And that right there. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, you can tape everything down and then do all your stapling or whatever. Yeah, these pins are good for holding your feathers, if they're a little bit tight to get where you want them. They can help. I wanted this to just right up under just the very corner of these feathers. Yeah, you want the very corner. And that's what these pins are doing, is helping the feathers stay spread. Until this. Throw some of those out of the way. Let's see, there. This could go up just a little, like right there. Maybe go there. Well, as you can tell, I'm kind of a tape guy. I'll use tape to kind of spread the feathers out, and then I'll use cardboard and staple them in place, for it to dry right. Only that, the cardboard aids in the feathers so they're not like buckling, weird looking. It keeps them flat and looking good. Now, since we got everything kind of like how we want it, now I think it's a good time to go ahead and, if you shoot a staple in it, make sure you don't make sure you go over the quill, not into the quill. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Like that. So I can already feel the rigidity of the cardboard doing its thing. Every time I put a staple in, see if I can match it closer together. Staple, a strategic spot. Make sure you go over the quill, not into the quill. And pretty much every time you put a staple, between the two pieces of cardboard, you can feel it tightening it up. I can literally feel it tightening up. There's a good place for one. Yeah, it's just flattening it out. The tape kind of helped, but the cardboard is what's really doing it. On small birds or something, occasionally I have just used tape before. Yeah, but every time I throw a staple in, it's flattening the tail out even more and more. Oh yeah, they're flattening out really good. I think I put one in every one of those. Okay, this side. There we are. Oh, there we are. I think that's got one on there just out there. Come up and get another right here. Another couple of pieces. Okay, we got our tail good and fanned out and stapled in with cardboard. The cardboard's actually flattening it. The tape actually helped me spread the feathers out. I like a little bit of a bend in my tail. I don't like it flat. So what I'll do is I'll hang the tail over the side of the table and put some Bondo in there and let it set that way. And I kind of hold it until the Bondo dries. But I want to make sure that all that borax is out off the quills so it makes a good set. Well, the best bet seems to be I like a spoon to get in there and just spin that extra borax out. Gotta keep at it for a while. I don't know if you can tell it, but there's kind of pretty much like a pitch in the fan anyway. It's got a little bit of a bow, so I could almost just set the Bondo in there and let it hang, but I can't. I mean, I got to put a little bit of more of a bend in it, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, now I'm just going to stir me up some Bondo and some hardener. I'm going to stick it down there in the tail and make sure and squeeze it around and make sure all the quills are covered with the Bondo. Put my hardener in it. Don't want to wait around, so I'm putting quite a bit. Mix this stuff up real good. And here again, you got to be clean with it. I mean, you got to be careful. Just take your time. As much as you can with the Bondo, of course, but make sure that gets down where you want it to. I want to get some definitely on the front, where the back. Those quills back there. Let's see what we got going on here. Definitely got some on the back, yeah. This stuff is kind of hard to work with. Oh, there's the anus. Okay. Just got to be careful with it because it gets everywhere. That should be plenty right there. What I like to do is make sure it's okay. It's definitely all over the quills, which is what you want. Definitely all over the quills. There's the anus. Okay, we definitely don't want that. Okay, now all we got to do is just sew up our seam. The seam when we skin him out. We skin him out right along the breast. Well, now all we gotta do is sew up our seam. I put some pins in there to kind of help with alignment while I'm sewing, so I don't get off track, you know, like if I'm not paying attention or something. So I'll just kind of take the pins out as I sew, but I just sew all the way down. Okay, what I got here, I got a little bit of tape, and the reason I just take the feathers back so I can sew, not have to deal with feathers getting in the way so much, and it seems to help, you know, a little bit anyway, you know, instead of having to wrestle with feathers all the time, and it just seems to help. Just drilled all this out with a Dremel tool, and then just stick it on my naked material, which is a good way to do it. You're just going to cut all this out. It almost wants to come out anyway, so yeah, about right up in here, somewhere in that range. From here on down, I'm just going to Dremel it out, cut it out, whatever I can do to get it out. And what it is I'm going to insert the naked material up into here. Figured I might want to go ahead and install the head ahead of time, and the main reason is because, well, the skin's starting to dry and I want to go ahead and pin it up. Otherwise, I'd wait later and do it. Now, I've already Dremeled this out back in here pretty good, but not good enough. But what I'm going to do is taper this down where it'll poke right up in there, so I don't have to do a lot of extra work. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Still got this, I'm just center it pretty good as, you know, where you know it's centered pretty good. What I got is a little push pins, and I got one like right here at the very back of the point, the very back of the head. And this is the same bird that this head was on anyway, so it's a pretty good match. But I want to pull straight up in the back and meet up with the back. So I just push that pin in there. There it is. Now see all this right through here that's separated? Probably show it closer, but you get the idea. Okay, here's one right here. Some separation. You just grab that pin about 1/4 of an inch apart or whatever, 3/8 of an inch. Jab you a pin in there to hold it. And I use short pins so I can keep them in there, you know, so they're not going to stick to the head or anything. There's the other one. Yeah, you probably can't hardly tell it by the camera, but this is all just naked material with no skin. So I grabbed the piece of the skin right on the corner. Yeah, right on the very corner. Of course, my hands, see how I went through right on the very corner? And then I pull it up flush. There you are. And I just push it in with my fingers, because it's naked material. Real soft necking material. But you see how that done. It almost tucks under there. You can almost tuck it under there, but still you would need something to hold it, you know. It's just necking material. But you see kind of what's going on. And you do the same thing to the other side. In other words, you don't want a gap of necking material showing, or where your neck connects to the head. Well, there you have it. And you can put some pins down here too to make sure things are where they're supposed to be. Yeah, here's my pin pusher. Yeah, you just want to make sure that stuff don't fall down or draw down, I guess is the right word. You know, when you put him in the strutting position, skin's going to pull a certain way. So you want to be careful of that. In the meantime, I like what I've got, so I'm just going to poke that in real good. There we are. And I tried to have a little symmetry in mind. I knew there's like a streak coming up from the beard, and I wanted it to like center that middle wattle. So got a little bit of symmetry in mind when I'm doing it. Don't know if you can tell from here, but the symmetry is actually pretty good. You got your little, I don't know what you call them, right there on the shoulder there's some feathers, and there's some right there. These are going to be all fluffed up real good and up high. And of course we got the tail right here that we're gonna prop him up. Well, I'm a little bit late to do this because the bird is really starting to dry, and I just had a couple of little hiccups trying to get started. So what I'm going to do is, a couple times already, since it's already getting dry, but I know they'll eventually work loose. I just have to. What I'm getting at is I was a little bit slow to get things going. So eventually these will be standing up. You just got to work them a little bit. Everything's pretty well lined up. Nothing out of alignment. Feathers on the tail seem to be lined up pretty good. So it's starting to fluff up a little. Just got to keep doing that. Now hopefully those quills are digging down into that cotton and getting a good setting. And eventually they'll stand up real nice and straight up, which is what you want. And of course the head will be caught back and down. So I'm going to go ahead and get a jump start on some of these feathers. Basically, you're getting behind them. You're being tender about it, but you're getting behind them and raking those, your hands over those breasts to kind of fluff him up real good. Got a lot of feathers underneath. That wing probably ought to go back a little bit. See how I'm bringing these feathers forward? It's totally natural. Whole lot of breast feathers right there. Okay, it's starting to bubble up a little bit. That's what you want. But we got to put the wings in place and everything. I'm going to cinch up little spots where there's like bare skin and all that. A lot of times it's just pulling skin up and it gets rid of that stuff. In other words, sometimes you just got to pull stuff and depending on how good of a fit it is, of course. What I've got is 12 gauge wire, and what I'm going to do is I want these wings to kind of bow out a little bit. You know, I don't want them so flat up against the body. So what I'm going to do is run a wire. I want these feathers to ride on top of the 12 gauge wire, but what I'm going to do is right here where these feathers separate, you know, where the top feathers end and the bottom of the fan is, right in there, I want these to ride right up like that. And so, you know, instead of dropping down, they're going to be like this, and then kind of puffed out right in here, and just have a better look. What I'm going to do is put a point on my 12 gauge wire. I'm going to cut off a big piece of it and bow it around so those feathers can ride on that like that, and maybe staple it or something, you know, down to the base. It's going to jab in right here and then kind of bow the feathers out a little bit. Then it's going to bend around, and I'm just going to staple it or something to the base. I'm going to do both sides that way, and it'll dress the feathers up where they, you know, where they're starting to look better. Then we can start taping and carding and all that stuff. Now the reason his head didn't turn back is these feathers, they got to be straight up. These feathers are going to be straight up. It's going to take a few days. Then this head is going to go back and then down. And the feathers are going to act accordingly. But that's how you do that's the way I do a strutting mount. Oh yeah, you got some stuff like well, bird injection fluid, but there's like places up here in the back where you can, where you know that it hadn't really gotten good and preserved. You can just jab that needle in and watch it kind of swell up. And got just areas around in here. You can feel it, see it going in. That's coming out now. But yeah, little things like that. Around in here you can put some. It's been a few days, so I might go ahead and I could probably start pulling his head back. And then probably pulling down. And kind of matching where I think the strutting head should be, which I think it should be about like that. I go ahead and lay the head forwards for a little while. Get these feathers to go up for the next few days. But as the skin tightens up and draws, it should make them feathers also, when it dries, should make it where those feathers want to really stay up a lot easier. So, and then these bottom feathers right here, work those up. Add some swellness to him. There we are. I'm gonna keep working those feathers out. So within 2 or 3 days, I'll be able to pull that head back and the feathers will stay up in an upright position. Just like a strutting turkey, just like I showed everything on a strutting turkey. I mean, there is some differences, obviously. But I still like to feel the wings out a little bit. I don't want them in. I kind of like them bowing out a little bit. Just a little. So I'll go right where usually where this last tail feather ends. And I'll go into the body just a little. Don't have to be far, because it'd just be aggravation trying to get it out. Okay, then I want all these feathers to ride over it. I want it just to bow out just a little bit. Now I'm kind of coming up with an idea. I think it's about like how a lot of other people do it, but I think I'll get like a piece of cardboard. See, I've got a big pin going through the end of the cardboard, got the end stapled. And what I want to do is go pretty much right where I put that wire. Yeah. Maybe throw some pins to it or something. Something like that. Okay, what I've done is I got 2 pieces of cardboard and I just staple the ends of them. And then I want to separate my primaries out, make them look really good. I want them to go back farther, but I also want them to spread a little bit, so I'm just trying to evenly space them. Like so forth. And then going through, just space them a little bit, but don't want a whole lot of gaps or anything. But that's kind of what I've got going on right there. Let me get that there. Just like you do on a gobbling turkey, or a strutting turkey. Pretty much everything's the same except the position of the neck, you know. That's pretty much it. And this will go here. I'm sure this is all. Now I want it to kind of be kind of flush with that too. I can go there. Something like that to hold it, you know, I should get it pretty close. Actually, even better than that. Let's see. There we go. Let's see, like that. There we are. There we go. That ought to hold it right there. We kind of work the feathers forwards. Slowly watch him as he dries. Eventually those quills will catch that polyfill and they'll stay upright. Like the breast, all of them. Okay, some of these feathers, the very back feathers, the ones that ride like right on the tail, trying to get those suckers to mat down if they're not flat. Try to flatten those things out. Sometimes you gotta do different things in different birds. A lot of times I don't even have to do that step, but it just depends. Okay, I think I've got it about how I want it. I eyeballed it a little bit. It was way out here. So, yeah, I cut some of the necking material off. Got a little bit of glue here. Just gonna put some in the wattles and should flush right up. I hope it does. Oh yeah. It flushes up pretty good right there. And all this necking material will come forwards, or it should, like this. There we are. A lot of times you can pull some skin forwards with pins. Right here, pull a lot of skin forwards. That'll help. I may have to make it a little shorter before it's over with. Like, kind of like it where it's at, but I may have to go in a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm going to stick with that as far as where the feathers go. Yeah, just like on the flying bird mount, you can see like skin on the side. Some of it can actually tuck, and that comes in handy. See how it can kind of tuck in? That's pretty good. It'll kind of tuck in a little bit. Then you can put a pin on it. Yeah, right here. Just push it in. Make sure that's behind. Yeah, I'm using these little pins. I'll tuck first if I can, if at all possible. And then I'll come back with a pin. And these are short pins, so they're not going to go all the way to the neck. And you just go all the way around. Oh, about every 1/4 inch or so. Put your pin. I'll put them in first before I bury them down. That way I'll know where I've got pins and where I don't have pins as I'm working. Go right here up to the top. Put one up there. And we go around. Make sure you got no pins in there. The heads are so small, you push them in and push them in kind of deep. And it will kind of bury them where you can't really see anything. Okay, then you're going down here, push them all the way in. The insert material is a little bit harder than the naked material, but you can still get them in and bury them suckers. Down here and the same there. Push them in kind of deep, bury that head a little bit without going all the way through. And do the other side the same way. Okay, I've got some stuff called looks like says bird feed injection fluid, and let's get my syringe down in there. Pull back on the plunger. And I start, injecting in the toes and everything. You can get up under these toes and fill them plumb full of this bird injection stuff. You can actually watch their feet swell up, or their toes, I mean. Okay, that's already coming out of the bottom of the foot. Do the same thing to this one. Just get up under there. Oh, I didn't get up quite far enough. Yeah, them toes, you know, I was there, watch the bottom of the toes swell up. So I just get up under that padding, it goes in pretty easy, relatively easy. And I just kind of pump it full. Yep, that's full. And you know, like places where you might not have got real good. You know, sometimes there's places like in elbows on the wings where it's a little bit meaty, or there might be a little bit of something else in there that you couldn't quite get to. This stuff will work to kind of help preserve it. And but that's how you get it. And you just do all the toes that way, and just try to get everything that'll go, because it's a good preservative. See right there, I even got the webbing a little bit. So, and you do the other side the same way. Just get up under the toes, and you can pump that syringe full of blood injection fluid right in there. And any other places where you feel like you couldn't like completely flesh out or something, might not be a bad idea to use some.